I didn't forget to film my January monthly wrap up until multiple weeks into February. No, that definitely doesn't sound right. Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be doing a slightly belated but still good January wrap up because I realized I never actually did film one. And I think it was because I did a patron update right at the end of the month. And in my head, I think I felt like that was my monthly wrap up, but it in fact wasn't. So we do need to talk about everything that I read in January. And this will be a little bit of a shorter one because January was quite a slow month for me. Probably my worst reading month as far as like books I got done in a long time. But overall, pretty solid for what I was actually reading, and I'm hoping to kind of speed back up a little bit, although February's been a little bit slow too. Starting off though, firstly, I finished up The Core by Peter V. Brett. This is the fifth book and the final book in the Demon Cycle, and was one I was doing for my reread, and I really enjoyed it. I did this time around, and I did a video kind of talking about the series and the things I think worked, didn't work about it after reread. I still think it's very much worth a read, and the ending is still a phenomenal ending, and it really, really works and sticks to the landing for me. But you know, books 3 and 4 definitely slow it down, and even parts of book 5. So there's definitely some things that I think could have been done differently, and I think a lot of the critiques are fair, but still a really solid series and one I did have a good time with. Although I don't see myself rereading it anytime in the near future for a third time. So probably going to stick with just the two for quite a long time at this point. I don't think I'll be super like tempted to go back to it, but we'll see from there. After that, then I was looking for something just kind of short, and so I popped in Shape Changers by Jennifer Roberson. This is the first book by this author that I have read, and I thought it was solid. I definitely had some issues here. I talked about it in the review. It felt like parts of it I really liked. Parts of it felt like it was kind of like bad like romancy, like the bodice Ripper romance. Yeah, I think that's right. Bodice Ripper romance, what they call them. Like that kind of thing. There was some of the dialogue, not necessarily the content, but there was a little bit of that. There were some things that were just a little bit rough. But the general ideas, the world building, the ideas of this world, where there are these people who have the Chasuli, they have a like magic and can bond with animals and change shape and like things like that. And the way that it wrapped into the world, I thought was really well done and really interesting. So I am curious to continue this series. It's not one that's going to be super high up there for me. I also couldn't find my copy because I've been packing books because I'm going to be moving in a couple of months, and so I've been packing things I know I'm not going to get to. So that's why we're doing image here for it. But I think the things that stood out as like, hey, this actually has some promise. There were definitely those things. So I'm interested to continue, and I have heard that this author's later work is much better, and also just this series that it gets better as it goes. So I'm interested to see where that does go and go from there. But it was a decent start, but nothing too crazy. And keeping with the like decent but nothing too crazy, probably is similar to where I'd put Bright Sword. Maybe this a little bit higher. This one by Leave Grossman. I borrowed the hardcover from my library, and so I don't have that copy still here now. But I was curious to read this because I know this is Arthurian legend, and so it's Leave Grossman's take on Arthuriana. And the Magicians, after being such a big surprise for me and enjoying it as much as I did, I was very curious to see how I would feel about this one. And it did not hit the same highs as the Magicians trilogy did for me, but I do think that if you had a problem with the characters and how unlikable they are in Magicians, this is much easier to get into. And just the premise wise, sort of the idea of it, and where you have Colin, who is trying to be a knight, and he goes through a lot of stuff to get to Camelot, and is told that, oh, it's too late. Yeah, King Arthur died in a battle 2 weeks ago, and everything's in shambles. And then it's kind of the him, along with the like the sort of the sidekicks, the second-rate knights, and those kinds of people are the ones who are now trying to put the pieces together, figure things out, and you get a lot of the backstory of the other characters as well. So it had a lot of familiar type of elements from Arthurian legend while doing it Grossman's own unique twist, and has his kind of signature wit and sarcasm in there a little bit, but much less biting than Magicians for sure. So I think still worth a check out, even if that one wasn't for you. There's some stuff to enjoy here for sure. And then continuing my very slow read through, but my very slow read of Recluse Saga by L.E. Madison Jr. was The Order War. This is the fourth book in the series, and the first one is one actually the latest in the timeline, and then the next three, including this one, all happen in chronological order, although with some big time jumps and I continue to enjoy this series. It is definitely not something I think will ever like be like a top series for me, but it works really well as palate cleansers. They're quite long books is the only thing. Usually I like my palate cleansers to be shorter, but they're just sort of they're engaging. The world building is interesting, the ideas being explored are interesting, and they're just very very easy to just sit back and enjoy and go through. And so it's been one that I find myself when I'm in the mood for one coming back to it, and I am interested. The next one I have is the direct sequel to the first one, so I'm especially curious for that one. But I enjoyed this one. We got to see a little bit more of the spectrum with normally the books so far have been dealt more with the order mages, less so with the chaos. So this one was kind of more in between, and I'm excited hopefully to get more chaos mages soonish. I think that is coming up soonish, continuing in publication order anyway. But overall, solid time as normal. That's kind of how I felt about those. I've enjoyed them. They've all been around 4 stars. Nothing nearing 5, but not getting down to 3 by any means either. Just a good solid read if you want something that's just kind of easy, low stakes while still having big stakes somehow as well, and just kind of simple to get through. They don't quite feel like cozy, not the right word, but they work really well as palate cleansers. Is the core thing I'll say there. And then we have Blood of an Exile by Brian Naslund. And I've meant to get to this series for a really long time, and just for some reason I've never seemed to get to it. So this was nice. This was one of my patrons picked it out of my pile of possibilities, and I was excited to just finally read this book. And I feel like I say this a lot, but it wasn't quite what I expected, although I don't really know what I did expect from it. But it definitely had these sort of like action-packed, fast-paced type of fantasy stuff, but it had a lot of the like natural history, natural sciences type of study of the environment and the dragons in this world and how they play a role in it. And I thought that was really interesting. Those aspects remind me a bit of the Lady Trent books. I did the first couple and I liked those elements to the world, but I found the rest of it to be just a little bit dry and not to my taste. This, though, it was pairing those bits with just like over the top action movie style of action. And I think it worked well. It was really engaging. This one also, I feel like, was a good change of pace for me, and I will probably continue to when I do the series, use this also sort of as like I need something more punchy, quick moving, because as I was reading some bigger, longer, heavier stuff, it's nice to break it up. And while I do think that this first book has some flaws for sure, it was fun and it was very engaging. And if you are willing to kind of just look past some things maybe that seem a bit contrived or a little bit ridiculous, it's a fun read and lots of action, but with more to it than just straight up action as well. So I had a fun time with that one, and I will be continuing. Like I said, I have the whole trilogy, so we will have to see how I feel about the rest of them. But I'm curious to see where everything goes. And then, by far, the book of the month, and I think probably going to be in contention for my book of the year, at least so far, we have Black Sun Rising by C.S. Friedman. This was our Backlist Book Club pick for January, and I loved this book so much. I did a review already, you may or may not have seen, and I filmed it right away because I was just so excited to talk about the book. It's one of those things where the world, the premise being humanity came to this planet, and then technology slowly is like eroded away by the magic of the world, and you explore more of the history and the magic and how it works, and just these ideas. It's very dark fantasy. It's very sprawling and epic, and there's just so much going on. And I picked up on some theme work that the author was doing pretty early in this one, and it made me really look out for it. And just watching for those themes and seeing how those were explored as well just added so much more to this experience for me. So I had a fantastic time. Definitely go watch my review if you're interested. I'm glad I finally read this, and I did immediately end up starting book 2 in February, so we'll talk about that in the next wrap up as well. But just a series that I'm so excited to read the whole thing off. And apparently there's like a prequel and like another thing that happens in the world too, I think. So I'm excited to read all of it and just to check out more from this author. It's always best case scenario when you check out an author and you really, really love the first book you read, because then you have a lot more to come. So that finished really strong, and it worked out really well with it, although it still leaves me with 5 full books and then finishing up the core. I don't remember how much I had left, but that's definitely, it's not a terrible month. 5 books is still pretty decent. It's been busy, and I haven't gotten through nearly as much as I normally do. So hopefully I'll have more than that in February, but you know what? Worst case, I at least have some good stuff and I'm enjoying it, so that's ultimately what matters. As long as I'm not hating everything I'm reading. If I am, I'm doing something wrong. But that still counts as a good month, and this was still a really solid month. Didn't really have any reads that I just bounced off of or really didn't like, so that's always good. That's really it though for this month. So let me know your thoughts on any of these, as well as what you were reading or any standouts for you for January. As always, make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Check the links in the description as always for the Patreon if you want to support what I do, as well as the Discord if you want to chat about books, whether these books, other books, really anything at all. It's a lot of fun. We'd love to have you. And of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.